There's a square. A perfectly happy square. Thank you very much. Laura told us about it. And it goes through a particular week. All kind of things happen to it. On Monday, our perfectly happy square is cut into pieces and pierced with holes. On Tuesday, torn. On Wednesday, shredded. Thursday, shattered. It was a rough week. And yet each destructive act inspires our perfectly happy square to become something else. Something beautiful, a fountain, a garden, a park, a bridge, a river, all quite seamlessly, it appears. As adults, we have been through weeks filled with days in which we too felt torn, shredded, pierced, and shattered. And we know it was not a matter of resting a finger to our lips, saying a gentle, and then with creative determination, by the turn of a page, voila! To our great contentment, we had become something else, something beautiful. Understandably, we want children's books to teach kids resilience and hope. And still, it's important to acknowledge it's not that simple, right? It's not that simple. Even on those days when we are perfectly happy with who we are, both of those days in our lives, we get disrupted. Something happens, an accident, an illness, a meanness, a betrayal, a loss. Something, and we too appear a stranger to ourselves. What do we do? Familiar options might appear in our mind's eye. We can stay torn apart, shredded, pierced. We can try and put ourselves back together in some semblance of who and what we used to be, tape and glue and all. Or maybe we can, in pages and chapters, in weeks and in months, be transformed. Maybe, just maybe, we can release the piercing frigidity, the brittle rigidity of our past, leaning into our opening poem, and embrace the versatile, vital, as blessing and embody something new. That is the nature of transformation, and it is not easy. It takes grace and grit, surrender and effort, knowing that becoming is better than being. Becoming is alive and awake. It is accepting what is while imagining what could be. Father Richard Rohr helps us understand what the square in our story tried to teach us. Rohr says, if you read all of the great myths of the world and look at all of the great religions, they all share that the normal path of transformation is order, disorder, reorder. Order, disorder, reorder. As he put it, that is the pattern of human growth, of all human growth. It's the growing pain of how we mature. It's the life-giving cycle of spiritual development. We heard that also in Lucinda's reflection. At age 9, she had it all figured out. There are some 9-year-olds right now also. They're wet, playing in the water, but they have it all figured out too. There was order there. Whatever her family was doing in church, it wasn't for Lucinda. Whatever her Sunday school was teaching, she wasn't buying it. Jesus was too clean. Ain't nobody going to grow up in the desert and have a robe that clean. We know that, of course, based on our vast life experiences living in Minnesota. Whatever was to be gained by her confirmation, by saying this thing with the rest of her classmates, she wasn't doing it. saying words she didn't believe, mumbling just to get a pass, just to be included? No, thank you. She took a hard pass on religion, spirituality. She would get along just fine without it, and she did. Until her beloved Bob and kids came along. And maybe there was some kind of itch about church and that tradition. Okay, she thinks I can give it a try. I can be nice. I like people. I can stay who I am, hang out, and then leave. Oh, but wait, there's a job? I can be with kids and be paid to boot? Sounds fun. It'll fit into the family life and even help out a bit financially. I'm making this simplistic, of course, but maybe we can see order starting to loosen its tight grip. Or maybe we can see how often we live with this dualistic or binary thinking. I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual. And yet life happens somehow. Experience opens us and wears our edges away just a bit. But it's pretty minimal disorder there, right? Except becoming a minister wasn't the new order. Not really. Not in Lucinda's telling of the story. We are taught, I'll tell you, we are taught from little on that achieving the thing is the reordering. That's the new order. Once we are the thing, voila, there it is. But what had Lucinda caught in the crosshairs was that in some ways she wanted to stay exactly who she was. Exactly who she was. She had the degrees now. Anything anybody said she needed to do, she did. She was doing one of the last things before getting the title of reverend, and it was all going pretty well. Again, I'm being simplistic. I do remember when I was graduating from seminary and in a very similar stage to Lucinda, one of my then friends said, God, that was so easy. It went so fast. Oh, did it now? But it was all going pretty well. She was just doing the next thing. And then comes Easter week. Nothing she felt connected to. She had left Jesus on the wall of her Sunday school classroom. Easter was for other people. It had nothing to do with her. It had nothing to say to her, except as she was participating in this tenebrae service, a word she had to look up undoubtedly, as did so many of us, she was moved. What? In her words, she was shaken. The fullness of Jesus' story, the suffering, the betrayal, the human-to-human cruelty, and the scapegoating, it moved her. It wasn't just a go. It was happening now, too. They were reading about it. They were sharing those readings with each other. And yet, among Jesus' last words were, forgive them. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. To be shaken. To be shaken is actually to enter disorder. Lucinda's way of being in the world wasn't going to do the trick anymore, just keeping it at a distance. Just being nice, liking to be with people. She was entering the business of transformation, and she had to be transformed herself. In being opened, that is, in entering the disorder, she came out changed. She came out curious. She came out having a teacher who taught her how to live into the values she held dear, to which she was committing her life, to which she wanted to be faithful. Not to mention being a UU minister who embraces the teachings of Jesus, who mentions Jesus from the pulpit, is no small task. You see, though we were born of two Christian denominations, this Unitarian Universalism, once Unitarianism and Universalism, So many of us threw out the baby with the bathwater, and that baby was Jesus. And so to say, this is my teacher, and to bring it before a congregation is no small thing. But to be shaken, to enter into disorder. We recognize that we came from order to disorder to reorder, and it's a familiar kind of pattern, isn't it? We go to school or work, we tend to our daily chores. There's comfort in the order of the ordinary days, and then something happens. Something disrupts our orderly lives. It might be something big, a loved one dies, we get injured, we develop an addiction, our marriage crumbles, maybe some of it or all of it. It might be something less traumatic. We're overwhelmed by life's busyness. Our lives seem to lack purpose. There's an unnamed inner yearning that is always present to us. Whatever the reason, it's almost as if we are enveloped in an ominous gray kind of cloud and we experience loss, confusion, depression. What happened? I had this great plan. See, society teaches us that when we hit that moment, we should just numb our pain. If you pay attention to the media, the blur of television, computer ads, all of it, there's always a pill. It comes with a list of side effects now that are read at the sound of something, at the speed of something I can't even identify. But there's a pill, there's a car, there's a video game, there's some self-help, something or another, that will instantly take that away, that will return us to order. But if we resist the disorder of suffering, if we try to blot it out or numb it, we stay stuck. We don't grow. Margaret Wheatley, wrote that when things are in disorder, when they are unsettled, people look for anything. They look for anything that restores a sense of order, even if it limits their freedom. And we are watching it happen. Front row seats, no matter what time you came in. Front row seats. We see it in the rise of purity culture and Christian nationalism, in all the things that say, we get it. The world is a scary place, but if you just do these things, you'll be safe. Your children will be safe. All will be well. Order will return. But the Apostle Paul saw this in the ancient world too. He wrote in the book of Romans, he doesn't say this part, but he wrote something important in the book of Romans because he watched people sell out their freedoms and each other to have some security through the Roman Empire. But knowing this was not the path forward, he said, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Yeah, that's in the Bible too. Yeah. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Pay attention, in other words. Do not live by rote. Do not let your love of the familiar divorce you from your own values. He knew what we know. Transformation is an inner work before it is an outer reflection. Even in the great justice movements of the last decades, this has been true. Voter discrimination and racism are a part of this country's foundation. The cry for justice on that count was persistent and loud, and yet it took the public's witness of Bloody Sunday to change hearts, including those in our government. Presuming everybody is able-bodied was the pattern and practice of the government, schools, businesses, everywhere. Even if there was compassion for those for whom that didn't work, resistance was entrenched. It's just too expensive to do anything else. But it took witnessing 60 disabled rights advocates crawling up 83 marble steps of the nation's capital for hearts to open to the chaos, to the disorder, to say we can do it better than this. We must do it better than this. And we say happy anniversary, Americans with Disabilities Act, 36 years ago. Many of us remember when a previous president let go of his prior sense of order when he actually confronted the reality that among his cabinet, in his government, among his circle of friends, among the people he loved and trusted, were queer couples. And he said, you know what? I wasn't taught it this way. I have had trouble getting here believing it. But love is love. And marriage should be encouraged and respected. And as a people, we have to renew our minds because we are better than this. Beloveds, we are at another inflection point. In fact, a multitude of them. Inflection. Some of us may be in the midst of our own personal inflection points. So what do? We can cling to the past, to the well-trod pathways of our ordered lives, or we can see that we have an opportunity in this moment to embrace the disorder of our days so that they become a part of a great transformation. We can approach this time as survivors, just clinging to what was, to our anger, to hoping to restructure things, patch them back together, or we might be able to see ourselves as Imagineers, people who might just imagine something different in the face of the unknown to discover how we might live faith-filled lives. So will we embrace new teachers? Will we examine old chapters of our lives and see the things that we've thrown out, the doors we've closed, too afraid to go into, saying it had nothing for us? Will we emerge from the old narrow places? Will we be courageous enough to figure out why something leaves us shaken and explore it? Because this order, after all, is just an invitation to grow if we embrace it. Becoming is better than being. Every wise religious tradition has known that. Every great myth has known that. And our religion, too, says transformation with love at the center is one of our core values. Thank God it is. Amen.